Welcome back, guys. Welcome to our PBL Season 7 Week 5 video. Last week was it was intense. It was a really close game against Aaron. Unfortunately, we couldn't come out with a win, though. We lost 1-0, 0-1 to New England Ente. Pretty unfortunate, but, you know, it was still a really good game. I'm not disappointed with how we played, although I think we still misplayed around the Suicune a bit. But it's time to take on our next challenge, and we are facing off against FRT and the Winterfell Zacian. Sorry if I have a lot of water at the moment. I was having Subway yesterday with my friend, and I burnt the roof of my mouth because I was trying to eat quickly because I had to get to the car to pick up my sister. So there's this one spot at the roof of my mouth, and it's like really sore. So if I have a lot of water, it's like I'm trying to, I guess, you know, stop it from hurting too much. But, you know, we've, what was I saying? We're facing off against the Winterfell Zacian this week, the Zacian, whatever, and Coach FRT. He hasn't really had the best season so far. He's 1-3 with a -8 differential, sitting at 17th. Hopefully we can come out with a win. I think we've got the matchup this week, and hopefully we can come out on top of the win. We need a big win here. We need to boost our differential, or we just need to get wins because it's pretty tight at the moment. There's a lot of teams at 2-2, and there's a lot of teams that can be at the same place that we are at the end of this week. So we want to make sure that we're on top of everyone else. Before I keep going though, I made a lot of transactions over the past week. Made a few trades, and got a free agency in, and this is the new team that we're rocking with. So we have got Melmetal, Greninja Torrent, Nidoking Decidueye, Swampert Magmortar, Latios Mega Zapdos, Miltank, Aromatisse, and Passimian. So I dropped a Alolan. The first thing I did was drop a Alolan Muck for Nidoking, because I really wanted to take a more offensive approach with my team. I feel like I need more wall breakers. I need more power, I guess, more offense to break down other teams. So that's the first thing I did. I made that trade with the Baltimore Bewares coach Ender, who we battled in week 1. So he was willing to help me out there, and I guess we both really benefited from it because he needed a dark type and I wanted that offense. Next thing I did was I made a big trade with Aaron and the New England Entei, who we faced off last week. We dropped Sylveon, Moltres, and Aurorus for Suicune, Aromatisse, and Magmortar. So what this did is I managed to retain that Wish Passer. I got rid of Aurorus, which was like, it put in some work, but it wasn't really doing too much. But I was able to get Magmortar, which is a much more, in my opinion, I guess, more reliable fire type, really good low tier Pokemon, which you saw put in work against me last week. Great wall breaker as well. I also managed to pick up Suicune, which I then traded for Torrent Greninja. I used the free agency. Well, my Fist helped me out. The coach of the Soul Salamancy helped me out. Used the free agency to pick up and then trade me for Alligator, which I then traded to Aaron again for Greninja. So he has for Alligator, I have Greninja. So this way, we're taking a more offensive approach. We still retain a bulky water type, but we also get that dark type back. We still have a good Wish Passer in Aromatisse. That thing, it's more low tier, which is fine because I want to play more offensive, less passive. So we have that option if we need it, but it's not going to be nearly as reliable as Sylveon was, but that's okay. Sylveon wasn't doing all that much. I was never able to find a real good opportunity to get a Wish Pass into stuff like Alolan Muck, stuff like Swampert to keep it alive, which is typically how I tend to play. I tend to play passive a little bit with a lot of Wish support, so I wasn't able to get that off. So I thought I'd change my approach this season, and I'd play more aggressively, and that's what those transactions do. Picking up Magmortar, Nidoking, and Greninja Torrent gives me 3 great offensive Pokemon that can really bust through teams. Like, as you can see, Magmortar's got 125 special attack, 95 attack is pretty good as well. Nidoking with its 102 attack and 85 special attack, its sheer force ability, and its insane amount of coverage. And then Greninja with its great special attack and good attack as well. And it also gives me that speed above base 110, which is something that I've needed for a while. One of the main issues with my team was that I didn't have anything faster than Megaladios. I didn't have a really reliable scarf around base 100 to outspeed stuff that could revenge kill Megaladios. Now I have that with Greninja, so that's going to be massive for me, I think. But anyway, let's look at our opponent's team. So he's got a Dragapult, a Reuniclus, Arcanine, Serena, Alcremie, Ordino, Mega Absol, Corviknight, Seismitoad, Heliolisk, and Hitmontop. Very sort of OU style in terms of ladder. He's got a Dragapult, which is a really, really powerful Dragon Ghost type, fantastic wall breaker, and extremely fast. It can run like Modest or Adamant or whatever he wants to run. I think he's probably gonna run special offensive, maybe Specs or something like that, Specs or Scarf, maybe Life Orb. But that's what I expect him to bring. If he brings Dragon Dance, we might have a bit more trouble, but I think we'll be okay. He's got a Reuniclus, which is a really good bulky psychic type with its fantastic HP stat and its ability Regenerator, which allows it to get a third of its HP back when it switches out. It also gets the ability Magic Guard and can run Trick Room, Life Orb, and really bust through teams that way, because it really more often than not it underspeeds entire teams. It doesn't underspeed mine because Aromatisse is slower, so I don't really expect him to run that set, but that thing can still show up. He's got an Arcanine, which is probably the best fire type in the game. It's fantastic. It's very mixed. You can run physical offense, special offense. You can run bulky defensive, Assault Vest, Intimidate. It gets Flash Fire as well, and it gets Justified. So if it gets hit by a Dark type move like Knockoff, it can get an attack boost. This thing overall is just really good. It's got pretty decent stats as well, but it's just a really, really good Pokemon overall. It can do a number of things, and it's really hard to predict what kind of set he'll be running, but I expect him to bring a defensive set. If this thing comes, it's going to be coming in on Melmetal. Because Melmetal kind of goes ham on his team. So if Arcanine comes, it's probably coming in on Melmetal. He's got a Serena, which is one of his rapid spin users. Really, really good, really strong offensively with 120 attack, so it can run offensive, but it also can be run defensive with rapid spin, synthesis, stab trop kick or something like that. It gets a lot of coverage as well. It gets U-turn, play rough, high jump kick. Those are the most notable ones. It also has a pretty decent speed tier, so it can run Scarf if he wants to. He's got Alcremie, which is his bulky fairy type, very specially defensive. Doesn't get Wish, which is fine. But this thing is a really bulky Pokemon. I don't think this thing is going to show up though, just because Melmetal comes in on it 100% of the time. Even Mystical Fire doesn't really do that much. At least I don't think it does. It shouldn't, but this thing is just set up fodder for anything. I don't expect this thing to show up, but then again, I can't really underestimate Pokemon not showing up. I got to prep for everything. Ordino is his Bush Passer, and also the second part of his Regenerator Core with Reuniclus, like a sort of low-tier budget Regenerator Core. Really, really great HP stat, and just general decent defenses, decent stats. Can't really hit too hard, but it can Wish Pass into the next thing and keep his team alive if he ever wants that option. But a lot of his Pokemon, a lot of his bulky Pokemon can heal themselves, like Reuniclus gets Recover, Arcanine gets Morning Sun, Serena gets Synthesis, Alcremie gets Recover, I think, Corviknight gets Roost, all those things. Absol is his Mega. I had this thing in Season 5 for PBL. This thing is an absolute powerhouse. It's really, really fast and hits like an absolute truck, and its Magic Bounce ability means it can come in on when I'm setting up hazards, and it can bounce them back, come in when I'm dropping a Toxic or a Will-O-Wisp or a Thunder Wave and bounce them back. So I can only really attack this thing. It gets a lot of coverage as well, and it can run mix with its great special attack stat, but it's very, very frail. And I think this thing will come though, because I've only got Greninja to really outspeed it. He's got a Corviknight, which is exceptionally bulky flying and steel type, which we're also facing off this week in TBA, facing off against in TBA. I've got which actually no, the TBA video comes out after this, but I'm recording this after, so it's okay. It's fine. It's got a really, really bulky, it's like It's got great defenses, it's got great HP. Overall, it's really hard to take down because it's only really got 2 weaknesses. It typically runs sort of passive, I guess, defog, brave bird, body press, roost. It can also run bulk up and go for a sweep. Bulk up, body press is a legit set, and it can actually it can show up. He can run a specially defensive bulk up set, which is what he's been bringing so far this season. So if that thing shows up, and it probably will, then I expect that set to come. He's got a Seismitoad, which is his bulky water type with water absorb. Water absorb and poison touch, but he'll probably be running water absorb just because I have a Greninja. And it typically runs water absorb anyway. Gets rocks. It's his only rock setter, I believe. Yeah, it's his only stealth rock setter. It's his only hazard setter, period. But this thing is very likely to come anyway, so it's probably he's probably going to get rocks up on me, which is fine. I can get rid of him fairly easily. Offensive, I found out in mocks though, offensive Seismitoad could actually be a problem for me. We don't necessarily have the best switch-ins in the world, but if it is offensive, it's kind of a lot. It's marginally easier to take down because it doesn't really take the hits that it needs to from Pokemon like Nidoking, Pokemon like Greninja, all those things. Sorry, he's got a Heliolisk, which is a really fast electric type in tier 3. Electric normal, pretty decent offensive dual typing, and it gets a lot of coverage like Focus Blast, Surf, and Grass Knot, so I got to watch out for those. He'll probably, looking at my team, he'll probably run Focus Blast and Surf, I would expect, as his coverage moves. Although we can't really hit Decidueye, I'm not really sure if it'll show up. Decidueye could be likely to show up because he's got a Reuniclus, he's got a Dragapult, which it could revenge kill. He's got with maybe like a Scarfed set. He's like, Decidueye could show up, so he might not bring the Heliolisk, but I can also see him bringing it. But I do have plenty of things for it. And last but not least, he's got his other Rapid Spinner, a Hitmontop, which is a really specially defensive fighting type Pokemon in tier 4. It gets a lot of priority as well, like Bullet Punch and Muck Punch. And generally speaking, it can be really hard to take down, especially with Intimidate, meaning that its physical moves, or my physical moves, will do less to it. The thing is, though, I'm not sure if he'll run Intimidate on his Pokemon, because, like, sure, they come in on Melmetal, but then Passimian comes in with Defiant. Like, if he switches in with his Intimidate mon and I get an attack boost, like, I get to, he drops my attack 1 stage, but I raise it by 2. So I essentially get a +1 boost to my attack, and if I get a +1 boost, nothing on his team really wants to take a hit. Looking at his typing, like the type matchup though, he doesn't, like, he's actually got like decent type matchups. Everything's covered pretty well, like a slight fairy weakness, a slight ice weakness, but nothing like too major. He doesn't have too many things weak to it. He just doesn't have many resistances either. So his team in terms of type matchup overall is really, really good. Like, the type composition is really good. He just hasn't been playing too well. Hopefully we can take advantage of that. Hopefully we can come out with a win, and let's see what we're rocking with. First of all, we've got Bust and Nut, we've got our Assault Vest, Melmetal, Double Iron Bash, EQ, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch. A lot of special defense, so we can take hits from the Dragapult and hit back. I think we got a chance to kill from Max with 44 Adamant. But we'll probably kill, because Dragapult isn't, like, it's pretty frail. As you can see, 88 HP, 75. This thing pops off on his team, and if Intimidate mons come out, that's fine. It still does like 50% to Arcanine with Earthquake. And I'm sure it will still do a lot to Hitmontop as well, but we have better switch-ins to Hitmontop than we do to Arcanine. So I guess there's sort of a trade-off there. Next up, we got Love and Thunder, our Zapdos, T-Bolt, Roost, Defog, Toxic. I initially had U-Turn, but I needed Defog because Seismitoad is very likely to show up, and I need that hazard removal. This thing comes in on a lot of things. It comes in on, it comes in on Absol, Arcanine, sort of comes in on Reuniclus, comes in on Serena, comes in on Toad, Hitmontop, Corviknight. Comes in on so many things. Can get a static paralysis off. If it doesn't, we can get a toxic off, preferably on the Seismitoad. If we can get a toxic off on the Seismitoad or maybe the Arcanine, we can start to chip those things down. And then chip them down a bit more with Thunderbolt. Heal up. We can heal ourselves back up with Roost. And we do a fair bit to, and we've got 152 special attack to make sure we, like, 2-hit KO the Corviknight, or 3-hit KO, a special defensive set. I don't exactly remember the calcs, but this is designed, we've got the special attack here to make sure that we can do big damage to Corviknight and hopefully get rid of it early, or just get rid of it easily. Next up, we're bringing Do the Haka, our choice Scarf Simeon with Defiant, close combat knockoff gunk shot U-turn. We got the speed to outspeed non-scarfed Dragapult. He doesn't really have a Scarfer, any Scarfers that are base 80 or below, except for maybe Serena, but we outspeed that as well. So this thing outspeeds and revenge kills Dragapult with knockoff after a bit of chip damage, or we can just knock off its item, its choice item, if it has one, and we can still live a hit because we've got that natural bulk. So hopefully we can, hopefully this thing can come in, this thing can go off. It's probably going to be our lead to get a U-turn off on something. If he leads with Dragapult, we'll just go straight for a knockoff and play offensively. Because I'm pretty sure Bassimian lives any hit from Dragapult just naturally. Or from Scarf Dragapult, it outspeeds every other set and knocks off. So we should be okay there. Next up, we got Bondi Rescue, our Assault Vest, Magmortar, Flamethrower, Earthquake, HP Grass, and Rock Tomb. We went absolutely apeshit on these EVs. That should be 31. We went absolutely apeshit on these EVs. Max HP, and we got bulk to live hits. We got a bit of speed to outspeed the Seismitoad uninvested, despite having like a negative nature. Yeah, 184, we hit 185. So this outspeeds that. We got 40 special attack to, I think it's a 2-hit or 3-hit KO Corviknight with Flamethrower. This thing comes in on Dragapult and we can slow it down with Rock Tomb, so that like stuff like Greninja can outspeed it. But this thing does a lot. And I guess its role really depends on what he brings as to what we do with it. But hopefully this thing can put in some work. Next up, we got our Mystic Water Greninja. We got Spider Only Fan, Hydro Pump, Dark Pulse, U-turn, and Spikes. This is our hazard setter, and also could be our lead. A lot of speed to outspeed the Absol, max special attack, and rest in HP. We got the Mystic Water Hydro Pump to make sure that we can 3-hit KO special defensive Corviknight or 2-hit KO physical defensive Corviknight. Corviknight is something that I'm very scared of, and I want to make sure that we can beat it. So if we run Hydro Pump Mystic Water, like we have a chance to miss, but if we hit it, we do a lot of damage to it. This thing also its dual stab puts in a lot of work against his team. Dark Pulse for the Reuniclus, Hydro Pump for the Arcanine. We got U-turn for momentum, so we can switch out on stuff like Serena, stuff like Seismitoad, and get a bit of chip damage off back. And we can set up spikes to make sure that like we can punish them on switch-ins. We just got to watch out for the Absol, and if he does go for like if we do predict like a defog, we might switch into Bassimian, we might make that play, but we could try go for those Defiant Mind games, because I think if we get to +2, then we can really do some big damage with close combat. And last but not least, we got Return of the King, our Life Orb Nidoking with Sheer Force, Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Flamethrower, HP Grass, max special attack Modest with enough speed to outspeed uninvested Arcanine. This thing goes ham on his defensive core. This thing is designed to take down his defensive core, Corviknight, Serena, Arcanine, Alcremie, Seismitoad, all Hitmontop, all these Pokemon this thing can beat, or at least do some massive damage to with its dual stab and a bit of coverage. That's essentially Nidoking's job. Come in on a defensive Pokemon and get off a massive hit on something. It won't come in on the Seismitoad, that's a bit too risky, but it can probably come in on everything else, like particularly Arcanine, Serena, and Corviknight, and Alcremie. Then again, just like everything that isn't a Seismitoad. But we can still hit, like if we can scout out its set, we can get it in range of a hidden Power Grass, we outspeed it, we kill it unless it's offensive. If it's offensive, we can handle it other ways with like Scarf Bassimian, but this is how we take down that. So this is our defensive, well, this is how we break down his defensive core. Hopefully we can put in the work. We're bringing a lot of offensive mons, Melmetal, Bassimian, Ninja, and Nidoking. Magmortar can probably put in some offensive work as well. Excuse me. But this is the team that we're rocking with. I was tempted to bring Decidueye, but I opted out. just because it lets Corviknight come in fairly easily, and Arcanine's a bit problematic. Also, it makes us a bit too weak to Dragapult. I was also tempted to bring Latios, but I opted out, also because the Absol and the Dragapult, they're both easily revenge kill, and they're both very likely to come. I was going to bring Aromatisse as well as a Dragapult switch in, but I decided that Greninja and Magmortar are better. Like, I was tossing between Greninja, Magmortar, and Aromatisse, and I decided to go Greninja Magmortar because I felt like Aromatisse was a bit too passive for what I was going for, and I also had to run Nasty Plot in order to not, Nasty Plot Thunderbolt in order to not let Corviknight sit up in my face, or to not just be walled by Corviknight entirely. So me and a few mates decided that that was probably that this team that we've got right now is probably the best team that we could have. At the moment, it's not looking like FRT can make playoffs if we we might not face them in there. Hopefully we don't, because I don't know how we can make this team any better. But this is what we're rocking with, and I will see you in just a few moments for the battle.
What's going on, guys? We are back for our PBL season 7 week 5 battle. We're sending the challenge straight to FRT. We have our matchup, we have our calcs, and we should be ready to go whenever he accepts the challenge. So let's see, let's wait and see what he's got. Hopefully he accepts soon. I really hope we can get the win here. We really need to fix our differential. Okay, let's see what he's got. So he's got the Seismitoad, the Hitmontop, the Heliolisk, the Absol, the Corviknight, and the Dragapult. Okay. So let's see. The best lead is probably going to be Persimmon. We can U-turn on the Dragapult. We can U-turn on pretty much anything, unless that Dragapult is scarfed. If it's scarfed, I'm pretty sure we'll live a hit. Let me see. Dragapult. Choice. Scarf. Yeah, we do live a hit. We don't want to take the hit, but we live it. So I think we lead Persimmon. If he leads with Intimidate Hitmontop, we get the attack boost, which is going to be massive for us. But let's just lead Persimmon. Okay, he does lead Hitmontop, so we get that Defiant boost right off the bat, which is fantastic. How much are we doing to Hitmontop? So that's definitely a defensive Hitmontop. We pretty much kill with close combat. So I think it's worth just going straight for the close combat. Okay, so we don't quite kill. He doesn't quite kill back. Okay. He could switch into Dragapult here. He could definitely switch into Dragapult here. Or something else to take the hit, but I still think it's worth staying in. He goes for the Mark Punch. That's okay, we get the kill. That's okay, we get the kill. We're a bit battered, but we get the kill. Okay, he's going to Pult. We're going to go straight into Magmortar. Okay, so he goes for a U-turn. We can calc the damage on that. So, Magmortar to Dragapult. Let's assume he's physical. U-turn does about that. So he's definitely special. Or, yeah, that looks like a minus attack. So he's definitely special. So he goes into Absol. Zapdos can pretty much come in for free, but how much is Absol doing to Magmortar? Knockoff's doing a lot, but we're doing a lot back with Flamethrower. I think it's worth it. He goes for the Stone Edge. Okay. Can't say I saw that coming. We can go straight into Persimmon here for free. We can go for a U-turn. Okay, so I didn't see the Stone Edge coming. But I'm glad we didn't switch into Zapdos in that case. Okay, so we go Seismitoad. We get the U-turn off. And I think we go into Zapdos or Nidoking. if we go into Nido King, we can, if he hits leftovers, we can go for an HP grass and kill it if he's leftovers, because he's probably defensive. Or we could go Zapdos and just go for a Toxic, and we can defog away its rocks and not take any damage. I think that's the safest play because we don't know what that. Okay, so he's leftovers. Let's go for a Toxic. Although he could go into Absol. So let's go for a. He could stay in. He could go into Absol. I don't know what the good middle ground play is. I think we go for a Thunderbolt on the switch into Absol. Okay, so he doesn't switch, he just goes for the rocks. Let's go for Defog. It goes into Heliolisk. Okay, let's stay and go for a Toxic because we live any hit. Actually, no, let's roost up, see how much damage he does. It does about 50%. Okay, let's calc that. Heliolisk. So that's not Choice Scarf. Could he be Choice Specs? Did he take Life Orb damage? No, he didn't. Maybe he's Modest Choice Scarf? Modest Choice Scarf would make sense. This is tough. Let's go into Nido King. Because I'm pretty sure... Okay, so maybe he just Expert Belt or something? But I think we can go into Melmetal and live any hit. Okay, so he goes into Seismitoad. So I think we can go back into Zapdos. Jeez, this is tough. Okay, he goes for Scald. We get burnt, that's not good. Let's go for Toxic. Okay, so we get the Toxic off. He goes for Rocks. Let's get rid of those. We don't want any rocks up. And because he's on a timer, we win the 1v1 with this, so he can't Toxic us, which is great. This means we can freely Toxic. Not that we really need to Toxic anything else. Ooh, geez, this is really tough. We really can't keep rocks up because we need Bassimian in this game. So I think now we can go into Melmetal. Goes for Dark Pulse. Okay, I don't think the crit mattered. Now we can fire off a massive double Iron Bash onto something. Or we can Thunder Punch into the Corviknight. I think we can Thunder Punch into the Corviknight. Okay, so he goes into Seismitoad. Jeez, okay. Let's go back into Zapdos. Okay, so Seismitoad is definitely a switch into this thing. Okay, he goes for Stealth Rocks again. That's fine. We'll just defog them as he goes into Dragapult. Okay. Melmetal is our switch in, so I think we go Melmetal. As he drops a Draco, we live that. Okay, let's go for a Bash. Okay, so he's not choiced. That's good to know. Okay, that really doesn't do much. That's okay. He's probably going to go for Rocks again. Let's go into Zapdos again. Okay, he goes for the Scald. Let's just roost up. This goes into Dragapult. Okay. How much are we taking from Dragapult? It's not Choice Specs. It's probably going to assume Expert Belt. We live the Draco pretty easily, so let's just go for a Roost. Okay, so we just Shadow Balls. He gets the drop though, which is not good. So I think we just switch into... What if we switch... I think we switch into Melmetal. How much do we need Greninja? We need to get spikes up. Let's go into Melmetal. Oh, geez, that damage. Okay, let's go to Greninja. He's really playing well. Okay. Now I think we go back into Melmetal, because Melmetal's not going to do much, because the Seismitoad's eating hits in the Corviknight. We'll go back into Melmetal. Okay, we'll probably just let this thing go down. He might set up rocks, so we might be able to get off a bash. Okay, so we just go for the Scald. We live though, thanks to the Assault Vest. So, we'll live on 1. Okay, that's huge. That's huge damage. So I think now we can just go for another bash. Yep, okay. Let's go into... What do we do? Let's go into Greninja. Put some pressure on. Geez, that Dragapult set is really... Okay, he goes into Heliolisk. We know this thing isn't choiced, so we outspeed. So we can go for a U-turn. I think we just go for damage, because we still got stuff for Corviknight. We could set up spikes. No, let's just go for damage, I think. Oh, we get the flinch. That's good. Let's go for another. Do we get another flinch? No. He doesn't kill with Grass Knot though. Let's stay in. He doesn't have a switch in. We outspeed Absol as well, so he has to go into Pulp, which gives us a free switch into Passimian. Absol, let's go for the Hydro Pump. We get the crit. Oh shit. I'm sorry about the hacks, dude. I think at this point we need to just let this thing go down. So let's go for a Dark Pulse. Okay, so he gets the Shadow Ball. Let's go for a... He needs Dragapult to win. So I think we go for a U-turn into Corviknight. Yeah. He goes into Corviknight. Alright, so we get the U-turn. Let's go into Nidoking. And now we can fire off a big flamethrower. Yeah, that does a lot. Okay. He doesn't win this 1v1. Let's go for an Earth Power on the switch. Yes. Yes. Okay. We need Nidoking to beat the Corviknight. So let's go into Zapdos. Zapdos could beat the Corviknight as well, but as you can see, Nidoking does so much with Flamethrower. So let's keep Nidoking around. He drops a Draco. That's okay. Let's try and roost up. No, we can't live another. Okay, I think now we can go... How much is Nidoking taking? From Dragapult at -4. No, -4. 26%. How much are we doing with Flamethrower? We kill. Alright, let's go back in. I think we might have disconnected a bit. Nope. Okay, we're back. Let's go for Flamethrower. We live a Draco. We live a Draco. No! Jesus. Okay. I think we lose now. We can't win now. I should have just gone into... I should have gone into Passimian. I should have played it safe. I don't know why I did that. Why did I do that? Yes, we was Expert Belt. That is just so bullshit. That is so bullshit. I should have gone into Persimmon. I'm such an idiot. Oh well. It is what it is. It is what it is. GG, guys. I guess we'll just try and come back in the next battle. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.